Right. And we are live on YouTube. Let me just refresh here so I can see chat and say hello to people. Give me 1 second here. Oh, still didn't show up. Interesting. 1 second. Let me refresh here. Oh, I actually had it up. Let's see. There we go. All right, so we're ready to go, guys. Welcome into Wade's Ventures YouTube channel. I've got an amazing guest here for you guys tonight, and I really appreciate you showing up here on a Tuesday. And that being said, you guys know Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, we interview really cool people in the community. And I've got a really cool guest. Not only that, but a famous guest hung out with Bonafide Hustler for a little bit. So let me, without further ado, go ahead and introduce yourself to this amazing crowd here.
How we doing, guys? I'm Kevin Fairbanks. I go online by the handle of Our Journey to Freedom. A lot of you guys see me post both Instagram, Facebook, YouTube under that name. Reselling has always been in my blood since I was a young kid. It's just a natural migration that we stumbled upon, making this a business opportunity a few short months ago.
And so I'm really excited because you're going to bring a different element to this live show. Being the fact that you were an entrepreneur before, and now you're doing the reselling, which is obviously owning your own business, and so you've got a lot of cool perspective, and I'm really excited to get into this. So before we get started, guys, the purpose of this 3 times a week is to uncover really cool people in our community. People that you don't necessarily see on YouTube a lot. And he's got a really cool YouTube channel, 2 little guys that run around on the video that I've seen. So we're going to put that in the chat. I highly recommend as the video goes on, you guys ask me questions, ask him questions, and then we'll put the link of his YouTube in the chat as well so you guys can subscribe to his channel. I highly recommend it. So let's get into this. So full-time, part-time, tell us a little bit about yourself.
It's part-time right now, but our goal is to be full-time. We would love for the end of 2018 for at least one of us to be full-time, if not both. You know, it's our whole adventure, Our Journey to Freedom. It's a family adventure. You know, as you mentioned, a couple of my kids on some of the videos, they absolutely have involvement in every aspect of this business. My 17-year-old daughter loves going shopping, taking the pictures, listing the items, inventorying them, packing them. You name it, she wants to be a part of it. My stepson, he loves going shopping and finding all kinds of treasures. The latest for him has been hitting some of the Goodwill bin stores and just finding treasures in every one of those bins. He comes up with new toys every time. So it's a family adventure.
I think it's really, really cool to have family involved. Like Ashley helps me in so many different ways. As she works on her full-time job, she's in the office and she's sharing my Poshmark closet constantly. And I don't know what I would do without her. And my mom today sources with me all the time. Today we had a question. What are those things in the baskets at Goodwill, or excuse me, Salvation Army? And those are fruit fly catchers that you stick next to your fruit. They're little apples, and I bought 960 of them today. So that's why I'm a little late getting to you. But that being said, Mom, it was super funny. She's sitting on the couch and going through all these fruit fly deals and putting them in bags. Guys, there's an amazing amount of them. So, but that being said, it's really cool because when I went on your YouTube channel that you're creating, like I felt family environment. Like you're the 2 little guys. What's their names, by the way?
Caden and Paige.
Yes, Caden and Paige. They were super excited to go to Thrifting with you. And what was that they're holding? They were holding like a camera or something?
It depends on which video. It was the last video. I'm not sure what they were holding in one of them. I know that Caden loves it. Like we went to Walmart just shopping the other day, and he picked up a bunch of cars. He comes home and he takes one of the boxes we got laying around the house, puts his cars in it, tapes it all up, and goes, "I want to do an unboxing video." He's all into it.
That's awesome.
So I whipped out my phone, so let's do one. You know, and then he's like, "Can we put it on YouTube?" Sure, why not?
Yeah.
So we threw it right up there.
You are amazing. I actually relate to you. Like having Cade grow up, I'm going to be encouraging social media. I think that's, and kids on YouTube is really huge. It's like the most watched out of all the big YouTubers is unboxing and kid stuff. And so it's really cool to incorporate your kids. I think that's awesome. And I want to, later in the video, ask you a little bit more about your YouTube, but let's get into this. So tell me a little bit about what states you live in and kind of where you're thrifting around you. I love to know this because it's always different for each state.
We're located up in central New York, upstate New York, not New York City. We're a few hours from there. I'm in Syracuse, which is kind of dead center of the state. But within an hour, I can be in multiple areas. Like Rochester's a bigger city that's about an hour and 10 minutes from me. I can hop over there. That's where I'm going to the Savers, the Goodwill bins, stores that we don't have in our local community. We got plenty of thrift stores here. We got plenty of retail opportunities. But sometimes you just want to get in that car and go for a ride and find something outside of your neighborhood.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and do this real quick. I'm going to go ahead and shout out a few people in chat because I did forget to do that. So Sharon, welcome in. Love your Instagram, and you always comment on my YouTube videos. You're amazing. I've got Gina in here. We had a really cool interview with Gina. Key Lime Kisses finally made it. That's awesome. I know you're super busy. Jenamine's in here. We did a cool interview with her. So guys, welcome in. So, all right. So I think I'm getting, now you said you're kind of part-time now. Are you looking to possibly do this full-time with you and your family?
Absolutely. Without a doubt, that's our end goal is to be able to get that freedom. And it's not just a financial freedom. It's a freedom of time, a freedom of the ability to do what we want as a family when we want to do it.
I think your name says it all like, getting to freedom, whether it's financial freedom or freedom to have more time when you sell online or to be your own boss. I think it's key. I mean, that's what I'm chasing, is to have that freedom. And so can you spend a second and tell everybody how we connected? You messaged me, you said, hey, what does it take to get on your channel? Tell them a little bit about how the process was to get on.
So it started probably about 3, maybe 4 weeks ago. Chris made a shout out to you on one of his videos. And I'm like, okay, who's this guy? He's talking about Wade. And then really what brought it home was Ryan and Allie with the giveaways. And they kept mentioning your name. And I'm like, I got to go check this guy out. So I started watching some of your videos. And then last night I was sitting in my office and I finally got to catch one of your live episodes. I got the notification pops up. I said, hey, I'm sitting here working anyways. I might as well play it. And then you were talking about interviewing people. So I'm like, I'm just going to reach out to you and see what it takes to be on here with you. And was kind of shocked how fast everything turned around.
Yeah, guys, literally, he messaged me yesterday. He said, what does it take to go on your channel? I said, nothing. Or was it yesterday or the day before that? Anyways. Was it yesterday? Yeah. He goes, what does it take to get on your channel? And I said, nothing. How's tomorrow at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time work? So he is a proven track record that you can come on this channel pretty quick, as long as I have a spot, which I definitely have a lot of spots for you guys. So, all right. So we know you're part-time, you're looking to go full-time, which that's a lot of people's dreams there. And we know kind of a little bit about where you're at. How did you find out about reselling, guys? How did you find out? Like, I asked this question because there was like an aha moment for me that I found out, oh, eBay's still around. I can sell on eBay. Like, how did you find out about reselling?
So I first got into the eBay world back in like the late 90s when it first kind of started. At that time, I owned a computer repair business. And I sold a couple things on there, but it was more for purchasing. Never really did it as a business. It was a couple odds and ends around the house. Could sell it, make a few bucks. Extra parts left over from jobs I could sell and make a few bucks. And then the Beanie Baby craze took off. And you were watching these people just quit their jobs and go out there and try to make a full-time go of it on eBay. And in about two and a half years later, all those people were begging for work someplace because they didn't really have the structure in place or the processes in place to make it a business. And for me, it was never a primary business. So My computer repair business and IT service businesses grew, and then the economy fell out. A lot of my clients were major retail restaurants. They're not making money. They don't spend money. That hurt me. So the natural transition for me was to move into the digital marketing space. We were already doing some website development and a little bit of digital marketing. So why not make it full time? But then I realized both of those businesses, I was losing the passion of why I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And that was that freedom. I wanted to enjoy time with my family. I wasn't getting it. I was working 90, 100, 120 hours a week. My daughter, the way I got to see her, she'd hop in a van with me and run for a 3-4 day run where I'm bouncing all over the state doing these jobs, hanging out on the job site, watching dad work. That's not enjoyable time, but it's opportunities that are out there that you got to find what's going to fit. So about a year ago, I decided that I needed to get away from being an entrepreneur and take a break. I had all of my time being filled up by everything but what is near and dear to my heart, and that's my family. I was mentoring people. I was running a podcast. I was running my business, and I was running myself into the ground. I was not sleeping, not eating properly. Life was not going where I needed it to go. So I said, time out. And this was in November that I finally started packing up everything and saying no more. I shut everybody off, turned the podcast off, turned off my mentoring availability, kind of just like closed the doors for everybody and said, I need a break. And at that point, Kathy, who's my other half, and I were sitting there like, what are we going to do? We need to do something. We both are not 100% satisfied with our jobs. We're not getting that reward out of it. Because of our age and because of where we're at in our careers, we're kind of maxed out. You're not going to get much more for income. You're not going to get much more level of position. So we got to do something where we can set a future for ourselves. So I started poking around, and I'm like, wanted to look more into the FBA side of things with Amazon, and started watching a couple videos. I stumbled across Chris, 10K on the Bay. He'll always be 10K on the Bay to me. I know he changed his name, but started watching some of the stuff he was doing. Natural progression. I kind of fell into watching some of Steve Rankin, watched his 30-day travel videos where he was just bouncing around, buying stuff at thrift stores and paying for his hotels, shipping it off to Amazon, putting it up on eBay, and making a living. And I'm like, there's got to be something to this. So I came to Kath and I said, let me show you some of these videos I found. We've always shopped at thrift stores and looked for bargains and everything else. So that wasn't, an unknown to us. We knew that we could go there and buy stuff. But it was like, can we really make this a business? And I was expecting her to be like, the good angel, bad angel on the shoulders. And she was going to be, the side of it telling me, hey, no, you're a fool. This ain't going to work. We started watching the videos and she's like, let's do it. Let's give it a try. And that was Thanksgiving week. So our Black Friday, we didn't go out Black Friday shopping. We hit the thrift stores. We started looking for bargains. We dropped, $300-$400, bought some clothes, and a lot of it, I look back on it now, and it's only a few months, but I probably wouldn't have made those same decisions. We kind of went in without a lot of research. Oh, this looks like a good brand. Let's buy it. I still have some of them clothes sitting here in bins waiting to sell. But, we found Ryan and Allie's video channel. We found Bonafide, a few other people. Eventually we got to you. And it just watching these videos, we learned, and we found some channels where we weren't getting any value out of it. So we quickly don't watch those videos anymore. Now, when they pop up, if we're still subscribed to them, we look at what the content is before we watch it, because we don't want to get down the path where we're wasting our time. We want something we get value out of. Mm-hmm. So
wow. That's, oh, 1 second. We got a little feedback here. Maybe. Let's see. Okay. All right. So that's an amazing story. I think that's. Tell me a little bit about your wife. Like, it sounds like she's pretty supportive in your life when it comes to reselling. And she works now and she helps you part-time as well, right?
Absolutely. She's very supportive of it because she sees it as a future for us. Mm-hmm. She loves going out shopping. It took her a little bit to not get caught up in the mix of things. Like one of the biggest things we struggled with at the beginning, and I got over it real quick, a lot quicker before she did, was not thinking about what you would buy. Go out, do the research. If it shows there's money there, buy it and sell it. Don't go, people aren't going to buy that. People aren't going to pay that kind of money for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you look at the apps, they're giving you sales history. People are buying it. People are paying that money. There's things we picked up at dollar stores that we can't believe people are paying $25, $30 for. It's like, are you crazy?
You hit the nail on the head. Like 3 points I want to make. I don't know if you guys followed my Instagram post I did. I said I was bored. It was on a Friday night. And I said that a lot of people source on Amazon from the dollar stores. They scan, there's a lot of candy and there's a lot of stuff that you can source at the dollar store. And the cool thing is there's a lot of dollar stores or Dollar Generals, and you can pick up a ton of merchandise. I think one of the things that there's three mistakes that I made when I first started reselling. One, I made the mistake of buying stuff that I thought I liked, but nobody else would like. You got to get that mindset out. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean that it won't sell. And that was one thing I did wrong. And number 2, I started eBay. And what I should have done when I first started was also start Amazon. I know you don't want to, I know it takes a lot to learn platforms, right? But the problem with not starting Amazon is the fact that, like, for example, today I went into Salvation Army, and yes, I could have got some clothes, but I would have passed up all this stuff that I could have easily have sent into Amazon. So I'm missing out on money because I'm already going to the thrift store. So if you're already going to the thrift store, you're making that trip out, you're spending the time and the gas, you should definitely try to source from multiple platforms. And that's the mistake I made when I first started. And to your point, we did buy stuff that, was questionable, that didn't sell. So I think it's really refreshing to see you not only like try something new when it comes to selling on eBay now today, but also like the thing that you said about, kind of looking into content before you start watching it to save time, because time is money. And I know that sounds cliche, but it really is true, because if you sit down and you watch one video, it's an hour long. You lose an hour of your day watching a video, right? So I humbly agree with you on that.
Absolutely. When we're over here inventorying stuff, we're taking pictures, we're listing it. We've got YouTube videos running constantly. They're on our TVs, on our computer monitors. So while we're working, we're still educating ourselves. And that's the thing, is it's constantly growing and educating, learning what to buy, what not to buy. It's constantly changing in the market. Like you, I waited a couple weeks to start Amazon and then trying to get over that hurdle of sending that first shipment. But I tell you what, after you do that first shipment, it only gets easier. So we had items that we bought not knowing if they would sell, and we're shocked. We quickly learned that, you can look at like the Keepa graphs and look at the history, but it was still that unknown. Is this data right? And me being a data guy, it was just like, I don't know. I don't know if I could trust it. But when you start seeing them sales come in, you realize that data is right. You can trust it.
So tell me a little bit. I want to ask this question. So what does your friends and family think of you reselling? Like, I say this every video. Everybody in the chat's probably tired of me asking this, but so when I mention to people, okay, forget mentioning that I'm part-time. Let's just say I'm full-time, because I put in my 2 weeks notice with my job last night, guys. So I put in my 2 weeks. I'll be going full-time. I don't know if they're going to keep me the full 2 weeks. Probably not. But that being said, when I go up and I'm like, I sell on eBay full-time, I get glazed eyes. People don't know what the heck is going on. So tell me a little bit about how your friends and family, what they think of you selling online.
It's hit and miss. My family, my close friends know that I've always been an entrepreneurial spirit and that I find ways to make money. I kind of feel people out. We start talking a little bit about it, and you can see right away in somebody's body language and the reaction if they understand the concept and they get it, or if they're like, oh, you do that, and then that changes the conversation right there. Most of the people are supportive. They still don't understand it fully. They think that we're just buying vintage clothes and reselling it. And there's so much more that we do than that. Mm-hmm. I'm preaching to the choir here. Everybody watching this that's out there doing this stuff knows that there's value in all kinds of stuff out there. Yep. We have, back to the dollar stores, we have a regional dollar store here that isn't like Dollar Tree. While everything in there is $1, it's all closeout stuff. So we've been able to find some really great bargains in there for $1. But the problem is when it's gone, it's gone. Mm-hmm. And you'll see on a couple of my videos where I'm driving an hour and a half around me, hitting every one of the stores, buying up every last drop I can get of a certain item that just sells. Yep.
I first of all, everybody in chat that said congratulations. I appreciate it, guys. I'm still, you guys gotta, I've only been doing this YouTube stuff for a while, so sometimes it's hard for me to read chats and do the show. So I don't want anybody thinking I'm leaving you out. I see you. I appreciate all the love. It really means a lot to me to be a part of this. I can tell you, had I not been on social media and I thought about doing this full time, it would have made my journey thus far way harder. And so that brings into a good question. I'm curious, how has reselling, online, how has being on social media changed your reselling online? Tell me a little bit about that. Like, how has watching YouTube videos and how has that changed how you resell?
For me, the biggest thing is it takes out that unknown variable. You can quickly learn certain brands, certain items to go out there and buy, or certain ones to not, based on somebody else's failure. And I don't use failure as a negative thing. I never have. I always used it as positive, because as long as you learn from that failure, you're going to grow. It's the people that dwell on that failure that never grow out of it. But it's going out there and having that knowledge that you didn't have to learn that step on your own. You didn't invest $100 into something and lose it because it didn't sell. Somebody already made that mistake, and now you can move forward from it.
So real quick, I do this every show because I have, I always like to take feedback from my viewers. Like, I've got the most amazing people in chat and super supportive, but they give me feedback and I like to take it. But we're mid-show, and I know some people joined late. Can you spend like 15 seconds to just introduce yourself one more time for people that joined late?
Absolutely. My name's Kevin. I go by the handle of Our Journey to Freedom online. So I'm located in Syracuse, New York, upstate New York, dead center of the state, not New York City, big different world. It's rural up here, but still has a city feel. So a lot of retail stores, a lot of thrift stores. Opportunity is all here in nature. Relatively new to reselling. We started in November, and we're just making a go of it and hoping by the end of the year it's a full-time gig.
Thank you so much. That's awesome. And then so tell me a little bit about what platforms you're selling on currently part-time.
Primarily eBay and Amazon. I absolutely love Amazon, especially FBA. You get the stuff in here, and we get stuff both from retail arbitrage, online arbitrage. We've bought some closeouts from like Bulk, and this place called Upper Valley Wholesale. I don't know if you're familiar with it. He's another reseller who gets a lot of pallets in, and he'll do like a $50 reseller's box. That it's flat rate priority mailbox, just packed full of goodies. I've got a couple unboxing videos on my channel that go through it. And every time I've gotten them in, I've tripled my money, if not more, on them. So, we've dabbled a little bit with Facebook Marketplace, but it takes a lot of extra time having to meet up with people, go there and deliver the item. When I can throw it on eBay, throw it in a box and it's gone. Put it on Amazon, it's in a box and gone. We did start initially with a Poshmark store when we were putting some of the clothing on eBay. And without knowing the platform, I didn't have time to learn it. I was learning everything else because we are part-time. I'm like, okay, that one's got to go to the back burner. I eventually want to start looking into it again because I hear all these success stories from people, and I think we're missing out on some money.
Yeah. And so Amazon is not scary at all. I think, somebody can learn it pretty quick. And I think it's cool. I'm doing Poshmark, Amazon, eBay, currently. Those are my platforms. I have dabbled a little bit into selling on Instagram, but I'm like, all right. So if you can sell any item, what would it be? What are you passionate about selling?
That's a tough answer. We're kind of all over the place now. I don't do a lot with electronics, and you'd think I would with my computer background. I can't get over that hurdle that people spend $300-400 on a VCR. I don't understand that concept. And I know I'm missing out on money there. There's another reseller locally that I meet up with that, we try to help each other as much as we can, mentor, share videos, anything that comes up. And that's his game. He loves that stuff. We do a lot with clothing. We do a lot of miscellaneous stuff around the store, plush, toys, games, books. Really haven't done anything with music. I think naturally when I walk into a thrift store, I go to clothing and look, and then I'll kind of travel around the store and take a look at the perimeter and see what else we got. Walking into a retail store, it depends on the store, what department I go to. Walmart, I typically hit toys, although I haven't had a lot of success in finding those sellable items. We've done well with the closeouts, and that's a wide gamut. It's from toys, stuff like old color forms. Mm-hmm. It's amazing what people pay for them. Our cost is like $1, $1.50, and we're selling for $10, $15 a piece.
Yep.
And it's, you go buy 20 of them, you throw them in a box, send them to Amazon, and they take care of the rest. It's easy.
Yep. And guys, a little tip, and this is for me, right? I don't ever want to say, hey, this my word is not gospel. This is just what I like to do. So I like to spend 20 minutes to 30 minutes a day calling on wholesalers. And the reason I like to do that is even if I don't buy, because there's a lot of wholesalers, even if I don't buy from the wholesaler, the chances are one of these days I'm going to get in connection with a pretty amazing product with somebody that can provide it to me. And I think you need a good mix of thrifted clothes and or items that you like to sell. And then also, on the other hand, replenishables. And I want to, and another thing too, is I want to get replenishables that people need that they don't necessarily want, right? I want to get thrifted stuff because that's what they want, and then get stuff that they need, right? And so that's basically what I'm looking at. So if I were you guys in your state, I would, kind of, again, try to Google search wholesalers that's in your state, start local, and then expand out. That way you can actually go physically look at the product, but then have a mixed ratio, not only to send to Amazon and or eBay, but to have replenishables in your store. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. I'm right there with you. We've done some wholesale flips. I have accounts with probably 30, 40 different wholesalers, but I don't order from them. I had one that we were ordering from on a regular basis, and I kind of felt like every time we placed an order, they were telling Amazon what we ordered. Because the next thing I know, Amazon's coming on the product listing with me, dropping the price down to just above my cost, so I couldn't make any money. And it was weird because we'd order it, and 2 weeks later, all of a sudden, Amazon pops up, and they were never on the listing before that.
That's strange.
Yeah, and it just happened after several orders, so we kind of stopped ordering from them. Mm-hmm. And they're the largest in the arts and craft market space as a wholesaler. So it's probably just a coincidence that Amazon was buying the same items. But we reached out to them because of an item we found on a closeout that was a replenishable for us until it ran out. And they were like a little needle punch craft kit that we were paying $1 for, that when I talked to the wholesaler about it, she said they're from 2007. She wanted to know where I was getting them from. because they couldn't find any.
Wow.
And I couldn't keep them in stock. I think I have 3 or 4 left in my Amazon store. I've probably sold 500-600 of these, and they sell for $10 to $15 a piece, depending on the model. If I could find more of those, I'd be happy all day long. But it's
well. Do you recommend any? Oh, sorry. Do you recommend any sites? Like, what kind of sites do you recommend
for reselling? For reselling? As far as like to buy merchandise?
Well, just any sites at all. It could be anything to help you in your reselling journey. This is one of the questions I wanted to ask going forward.
For me, I'm dabbling right now with tactical arbitrage, learning it, trying to find some of the replenishables, because I don't have the time right now to spend 8 hours in a store scanning every item in that aisle to look for those replenishables. We've been trying to find, some ourselves because we realize we got to have something that's consistent, something that we can make money on over and over again. We use Inventory Lab for some of our stuff with FBA. Being a background as a programmer, I struggled trying to find something that worked for our business for like eBay and Amazon. There was nothing out there. So I started building my own system that would integrate with both, and it integrates with the APIs. We concentrated more on the eBay side to begin with because the spreadsheets that we were using at the beginning, we quickly outgrew. As soon as you start having a few hundred pieces of clothing that you're buying at a time, those spreadsheets don't work too well anymore. Mm-hmm. So that's when I started building a database program, and it baffles people because most people don't think about going and building their own stuff. My end goal is to get the Amazon piece fully in there as well, so then I don't have to use something like Inventory Lab. I'm trying to think what else we use. We've bought in some boxes off of bulk, and those can be hit and miss. It's uninspected returns. Sometimes you end up with some stuff in there that's garbage, and other times you end up with stuff that's just shelf pulls. But typically we've made a profit on every one of the boxes, so I'm not worried about those few items that are in there that are not doing it. The Upper Valley Wholesale boxes that I mentioned before, you can order those right on the guy's website. He does them as mixed boxes, new clothing with tags, and then he's got like a whole box of cell phone accessories. Well, I've only done the mixed boxes, and we've had great luck with those. Other online sites for learning, I'm a member of the Green Room, which is Steve Rakin and Bonafide Hustlers group. A lot of knowledge there, a lot of the books that they have, videos and everything else that are part of that private group. But it's more the online community that came with that. Mm-hmm. Getting into that group. Blake's group 0 to 10K. I don't know if you know Walter. Some of his videos are kind of crazy. He's up in Michigan. There's a lot to learn from that group, but you got to kind of weed through it because there's a lot of new resellers in there. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of the same questions over and over again. Those guys that are first starting out. Nobody thinks to use that search button. They're quick to go in there and post a new post asking the same question.
Mm-hmm. So I always ask. One second, let me see.
Nobody thinks.
Sorry guys, we have a little feedback. Okay, so you kind of went over a few resellers that you watch, right? And the reason I want to ask this is, what do you have? Do you have like a group of resellers that you like watching? And if you do, please let us know, because some people in chat may not know who they are, basically. So who's your favorite resellers to watch?
The one we watch the most is probably Rally Roots, Ryan and Allie. It's to the point where my kids come in and go, "Did they post a new video? Can we watch their new video?" It's like a nightly ritual. We because we have smart TVs, you're just able to pull it right up on your TV and see what everybody's posted. If they go live, you're watching the lives right on the TV in the living room. It's not watching, the latest sitcom or anything else. We're watching YouTube videos. We watched a lot of Steve Rakin at the beginning, and not so much anymore. A lot of his videos have started changing more into some marketing stuff and less away from the clothing reselling. Chris, 10K on the Bay, got us a lot of our initial process. Similar to the bins that are behind you. in the room behind me, I've got racks full of bins and the way that we label everything. I don't put the clothespins on there like he does. I actually print out a label for my Dymo printer with a barcode and an inventory number that we slap on either a clear plastic bag or a poly mailer. Bonafide hustler, watching a lot of his videos when he goes into the thrift stores, learning what he buys, what he doesn't buy. As I mentioned, Blake, he goes by Walter Blake. I don't remember his name off the top of my head. I can look it up, or I can send you a link that we can put into the video afterwards.
Yeah.
Luke, Endless Entrepreneur. I watch a lot of his stuff. The value I get from him is the numbers and the stats. I'm a data guy, so I care about those numbers, those stats. I got to prove it. That was one of the first things I put into the little app that I built was I wanted to know how much profit we were making, our average selling price, our ROI. I wanted to see those numbers to prove that this business works. So we watch Reseller Rabbit, especially with his storage units that he's been buying lately.
Yes.
I've gone to a storage unit auction a couple weeks ago, and I'm waiting for some more. It's towards the end of April, they'll start hitting around here because the snow will be gone. I want to hit a few more and see what I can find.
Yeah, when you get a little experience in it, let me know because I'm still new at storage units.
So, I've been watching your stuff, kind of binge watching it the last couple of weeks after learning who you were and having to see more of it. So, I'm sure there's ones I'm forgetting. Full-time FBA. There's another FBA guy I've been watching lately. We've been doing a lot with books. A couple weeks ago, I stumbled across Caleb, who created Scout IQ. He had this thing with the 100 book challenge, and I'm nowhere near hitting 100 books a week. Just finishing up week 2, and I'm still not at 100 books total. But I've already sold probably half of what I've purchased in these 2 weeks. And it's like, it's there. The money's there, and that was something that normally when I went through the book section, I kind of scanned it with my eyes. But when you actually use the app and go through and scan everything, you realize you're missing money. Stuff that it goes back to that. Don't think about what you would buy. Just scan it and see if it makes money.
Mm-hmm. So see what's going on here with this. I don't know if you guys got. Okay. So first of all, Ryan and Allie, they're amazing. The really cool thing about them is they're you get the adult vibe from them, but they're still still if you had them on your TV and you had your kids were eating, like you still can have them watch them. I think it's it's really cool. And Reseller Rabbit, guys, if you haven't checked him out, he is really cool. He's got a warehouse. He does storage units. I would love to meet this guy. He's just an amazing guy. And so you can tell he works hard. He's got a great YouTube channel too, guys. Reseller Rabbit. All right. So here's the part where I want to see, you kind of gave us some websites and different things that you use for your reselling business. Now, what would you tell yourself if you could go back in time and tell yourself one or two things, what would that be before you started reselling?
One of the biggest areas I struggle that I would tell myself from the get-go that you'd have to do is be consistent. Be in there listing every day. We all go out, we buy the stuff, and we don't list it. And then it accumulates and it builds up and it becomes a massive amount of work that you got to go do. Some people refer to it as a death pile. I like to call it a profit pile because it's profit laying there that you need to go sell. And that is one thing that I'm guilty of. We'll shop all week hitting thrift stores at lunch breaks, after work, kind of unwind the day, get rid of the day's stress before you go home. I'll meet Kathy and we'll go to a thrift store and we'll split up. We don't even shop together in the store. We go our separate ways and we meet up at the end. What'd you find? And it just sets that nice tone when you go home that you're not bringing that stress from the day into the house with you. But we build that up all week, and then we come here and we're like, oh, but it's Saturday. I want to go do this, or I want to go check out this store. And, and then it builds up more. And then a week and a half's gone by and you haven't listed any of that stuff. So then it's the mad dash to get over here, get pictures, get it listed. And, that hurts you on eBay because of the algorithm thing where, you got these spikes that you're listing. You're not consistent every day posting 4 or 5 items. So I think that would be the biggest thing I'd tell myself is just be consistent.
I was not consistent when I first started. And even now I'm not necessarily consistent until I go full time because it's tough when you have a job and, you have everything else. Not that there should be any excuses, but when I go full time, I definitely need to work on a system and make sure that you're listing. I gave this tip out, not necessarily a tip, but kind of an idea, is to integrate eBay with your way of life. So what you like to do, your tendencies, try to involve eBay in that to make it easier and list in the mornings when you're fresh. And then that way in the evenings, you can work on stuff that doesn't necessarily need a lot of brain power, like shipping or stuff like that. When you're a little bit, tired or it gets later in the day and you're with the family. So I try to list in the mornings because I find that, at least for me, when I first started, I was doing a lot of fluff, right? I was getting the warehouse perfectly set up. I was labeling the bins. I was, and you got to do that stuff. But I was finding that I was doing stuff that wasn't necessarily making me money. And so now going forward, you kind of need to focus on what makes you money, like proof of concept, list, make the money, and then do the small things when it isn't going to impact your listing, because ultimately that's what's going to get you, where you need to be. And I think the biggest thing too, guys, is to, get fourth quarter, which fourth quarter is, where you're going to make most of your bulk of your money. Get fourth quarter inventory ready now. I think when I first started last year, I waited way too long. I waited, end of third quarter, beginning of fourth quarter. And I really wish I would have scaled that back and started Q2, Q3, and then crushed it in Q4.
Absolutely. I have to agree with you too, that trying to get the warehouse perfect. We were doing that. We were playing that game a little bit at the beginning, but we quickly outgrew the space that we dedicated in the house to it. Basically, I took the office I was running my digital marketing company out of. Probably 80, 100 square feet at most. It was the size of the room. And once you start adding a couple racks in there and everything else, it fills up quick. And, I could have taken a spare bedroom. I could have taken the garage and said, okay, we could turn that space into it. But I knew where my vision was and where I wanted to take this thing. And that in order for us to get to that next level, we needed to boost the business. So we went over and we ended up leasing some commercial office space in February. And originally we were looking for about half the size of the space we got. But the landlords here talked to us. We had a great rapport. We hit it off. And they decided they'd give us the whole space at half the rent.
Wow.
We basically have controlled rent for the next 2 years. Every 6 months it goes up by $50. So I know what my rent will be for the next 2 years. But I'm on a month-to-month lease. So if 3 months from now, all of a sudden the bottom falls out and there's no Amazon, no eBay, which isn't going to happen, I can walk away from here with a 30-day notice. So
that's amazing. Yeah. I think that's really, really cool. And how is it owning space? Do you have more headspace now that all your inventory is not necessarily at your house?
Absolutely. You're not looking at it. You're not staring at it every day. It's organized. It's there. We have one whole room that our inventory sits in, and we have a whole process. I started doing on some of the videos when we leased the space before we had everything set up in there, and it's still not fully set up, but showing how we were going to have different stations. We have the station with a rack and a clothing rack and a wire rack that when we purchase something, it comes in and goes on there. That's got to be inventoried. So we have a table set up, computer there, we log it all in, we inventory it. The next station's our photograph booth. We have a mannequin, we have a flat lay hanger, we have a little shadow box, we have a table there, so we can do all of our pictures. Then it goes to a prep area where it gets prepped to go into the bin or go in onto a shelf or be shipped out. And then we have all of our metal shelves that everything is sitting in. It's either in a bin or on a shelf. and we track where that inventory is, because the last thing you want to do, which I think you were guilty of yourself, along with a lot of other people, is you sell that item and then you can't find it.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes. And it's, guys, it was so funny. Like, you think you know about eBay and Amazon, you think you know about reselling, and there's always something that surprises you. And that's something that surprised me. I looked at, I'm top rated, and I looked and I was like, holy crap, I need to watch how many orders you cancel. And there's a lot of factors that go into not finding an item, right? It could be where you had multiple quantities and you put, the same item in different bins, but labeled it one bin. That's happened to me. And it a lot of times too, when you get returns and you relist it, because it's easy to relist, right? If you get a return, you relist it, but then you forget to put it back in the bin. And there's nothing more frustrating than going through every single one to find your item, and especially go through every single one and not find your item. So I think inventory is really key. You got to be organized, and we're all guilty of it in some regard. And that's why when I bring it into the house, much like yourself, for your office, you got to have stations. And then, as it reaches this station, it's done. It goes to the next and the next, and then ultimately into the way that you house your items, so that way you can sell it. So
absolutely, we're not tripping over it anymore. And now we have the space to be able to do things like the room I'm in right now. This desk kind of wraps the room. We have the space to run our operation. There's another room next to me that we have a table in there. That's where I've been doing the unboxing videos. The room's kind of wide open. Off of there is a closet that we have all of our boxes, all of our shipping material, all of our extras out of the way. They're not piled up. You're not tripping over it.
Yep.
It just makes it nice.
Tell me a little bit about your YouTube. Like, what's your plans with YouTube? I'm going to put it in the chat, guys. Make sure you subscribe to his YouTube channel, and please like this video. I know you hear that from a lot of content creators, but it gets it out so more people can discover him. But what's your plan for YouTube?
Absolutely. I figured you had already posted it, because I've been watching my notifications pile up on the screen of people who are subscribing to it. So I'm assuming they're all coming from this video right now. But my goal with it is to help other entrepreneurs, other resellers out there not make mistakes. As I said earlier, I've learned from what other people have made, but I've also made mistakes in doing this. You're in a hurry, you're quick to do something. So whatever I can share out there to help somebody else grow their business and gain that freedom for them and their family, that's what it's all about. If I can make money to pay my bills and live, and be able to share and give back and do this thing and just enjoy life, that's where I want to be.
I think that's really cool. I respect so many people in this community that have like the drive to get up and do something. So we do have guys, put some questions in chat, because I would love to answer them, and so I'll have any other questions too. So digital marketing, I'm learning right now. Any advice? Are you going to be talking about it on YouTube?
I did talk about digital marketing on a previous YouTube channel. I'm looking at that question right now myself. Our journey to freedom is more documenting our process and our journey through this reseller venture. I did have a channel. My digital marketing company was Pink Tie Technology. And if you go out there and search for Pink Tie Tech, you'll see some videos I did on SEO. Nothing, I didn't do a lot of it. And that's the difference between that industry and this reselling industry, is there was communities where people got together and they wanted to talk, but nobody would give out those secrets. Nobody would tell you the secret sauce or tell you how to do things, because they were all looking at you as the competition. They would put out these courses and charge you $1,000 to teach you something that they learned a week ago, so they weren't even experts in it. Versus this reseller community where everybody just kind of embraces one another and shares what their experience was, shares their knowledge. Is there people out there standing out there saying, hey, give me $1,000 for a course? Absolutely. You're going to find that anywhere, but they're not getting as successful as the people who are out here sharing that knowledge and not asking for money. Ryan and Allie run their mentor program, And for me, it was no brainer to give them whatever it was, 200 and something bucks. I don't remember what we paid for it, because way I learn and the way Kathy learns are two completely different ways. This stuff all comes natural to me. I pick up technology real easily. She doesn't. So for her to sit down and watch Ryan and Allie's private mentoring videos, it's perfect for her. Because for me to sit here and teach her, I know I don't have the patience for it. So I can't sit here. I would get frustrated because she doesn't learn at the same level I do. Mm-hmm. So it's easier to say, here, go watch these videos. You know, so that is a great opportunity. And it's a bonus because part of that mentoring program, you get direct access to Ryan and Allie. So I was able to pick their brains like right away.
Ding, ding, ding. I want to elaborate on that. So first and foremost, sometimes it's best to give content to your family or friends that's want to help you in your reseller business that is somebody else other than yourself, because sometimes they learn differently by learning by, with somebody else and not somebody that they know on a more personal level. But to answer your question, like, I am not actually a fan of paid content in the reselling community. For example, I'm never going to start a Patreon group. And I know that because it just, and there's nothing wrong with, doing that sort of thing. Like, there's nothing wrong with mentoring. That I've done it before, but it wasn't to necessarily learn. It was to gain access. I think that's super key, because if you can gain access to somebody that you're interested in, that is valuable, because you feel like you're in it with somebody that really understands like where you need to be and where you're at, and you can learn from them. And the fact that you know them on a more personal level, that's valuable. So I would definitely pay for somebody's Patreon if I'm interested in the person that's doing it. But for content, I think you can find the same exact content free on YouTube. So I necessarily wouldn't pay for content purposes, but to gain access, I definitely would.
Absolutely. Probably mid-February was a game changer for me in this. Watching all these videos and learning this stuff was one thing, but I didn't see the people who were watching as humans. It's, oh, they're on YouTube, they must be these great superstars. For me, the biggest changer was I went to Austin for other purposes. And before I went down, I reached out in the green room and said, who's in the Austin area? I just wanted to meet up with another reseller, maybe chit chat. And I knew they had a Goodwill bins down there, and I hadn't been to a bin store. So I wanted somebody to come, hold my hand and show me what the bin store was about. And right away, I got a couple people, including a Bonafide Hustler. And I said, hey, would you mind, having me tag along with you and, go check out these stores? And he was very open to the idea. And then actually meeting him and his brother and just riding along for the day, you realize they're just like me. They're human. They're like you. They're no different. So that kind of like was the changer that, hey, don't be afraid to reach out to these people and ask them questions. There's another person out there that has a YouTube channel and some videos, and I'm not going to mention their name, but at one point I did reach out to them. They kept promoting this Facebook group that they have, and I went to sign up for the Facebook group. And as soon as I signed up for the group, I got hit with a private message from that person saying, oh, it's going to be X number of dollars a month. I was completely turned off by their approach. They say one thing on the video, they're there to help, and I simply wanted to ask a couple questions. And right away, it was the handout wanting money. The person gets a lot of views out there. A lot of people know who he is. But it's just like that turned me off right away when there's so many other people out there that are willing to help you.
Yep. And the one thing I like about Bonafide Hustler, I think, I haven't met him, or disclaimer, I have not met him and or talked with him actually. I definitely would like to one of these days, because I need to reach out to him. I need to get more healthy, and he's definitely a health nut, which is awesome. But he loves tacos like I do. I am a big taco guy. He's cool. So did you actually reach out to Bonafide then, and he went with you?
Oh, absolutely. I was down there for a conference, and I'm probably going to be in trouble if anybody that was involved with that conference is watching this video. I blew off an entire day of the conference, grabbed an Uber, met him across town, and went out riding with him and his brother for the day. We started off getting the dopios and getting the caffeine going. and then hit up some garage sales, hit up some thrift stores, and ended the day eating some tacos. Let me tell you, I've been all around this world, and I've had tacos all over the place. Nothing compares to Taco Deli.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to go back to Texas and get some more of that. But they're just great people. Just to take a complete stranger, throw them in your car, and ride around for hours.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, when you got there and you met them, you kind of felt like you knew them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've known them all my life. It's my brother, it's my cousin, it's my best friend. I'm going out for a ride.
Yep, and I think that it's really cool. I guess the main story here, guys, that people are watching this is we like content creators are just like everybody. We put our pants on one leg at a time. Unless you're really awesome, you could probably do it two legs at a time. And so reach out. That brings to a good question. We had a question. Are you thinking about going to eBay Open?
Unfortunately, because I am employed full-time, I'm not able to attend. There was a couple events that we wanted to go to. One was ASD. One is the Green Room meetup in Austin, and then eBay Open. And unfortunately, I can only take so much time off this year. So we decided we're taking a family vacation. We haven't had a full family vacation. We've had these weekend getaways, but this year we're actually going to go enjoy a full week. We're splitting it between two different cities, but it's just going to take that time. And that's more important to me than going to these events, is spending time with the family.
I think, and not only that, but when you have kids that are that age, it's different. Let's say they're 21 or 22, then Vegas would be an understandable. I guess you can take kids there too, but I recommend, just like we've been talking about networking, I recommend eBay Open if you can afford it. And if you can't afford it, try to find somebody that has or needs a buddy in a like that can split the hotel cost with you. You can always put it in the comments below or message people that possibly may build a room in the same hotel to cut the cost down from, I think it's $89, down to half. But I recommend it, guys. I will definitely be at eBay Open. People are saying Wade is all about tacos. That's right.
That Taco Head Wade.
Oh, yes. Rusty Raccoon said Vegas is great for kids. It is, but I would lose my kids because I would probably be having fun, and I need to make sure they're really close. No, Vegas is really cool, especially the outskirts of Vegas has a lot of cool stuff for kids too. But that being said, guys, I want to ask, everybody, if you guys have any questions for both myself or him or anything like that, put it in chat now. I'm going to put his link to his YouTube channel, guys, and it's really crucial that how many subscribers do you have on your YouTube now by chance?
We really just started posting videos the last few weeks. When I looked this morning, I think we were up to like 25 or so. I don't even remember what number it was at. I'm sure it's already increased with all the pop-ups I've seen.
Guys, try to subscribe to his YouTube channel, because the reason that we do this is to highlight amazing resellers. And that being said, I know how hard it is to get your first 100 subscribers. And when you subscribe and you get 100 subscribers on YouTube, you can start going live on your phone. And I want everybody to be able to go live, because I like to binge watch people while they're thrifting. So make sure you subscribe to his YouTube channel. I'll put it in the description below if you're watching this video after the fact. But that being said, Pac-Man said, let's get it up to 100. And by the way, I love my hats. That's what's so amazing about this community. I opened my mailbox and I've got 2 brand new hats and an amazing t-shirt by that man. So my new admin in the channel. So I appreciate that. But yes, try to get to 100 subscribers, guys. So that way, when you start your YouTube channel, you can start going live. I think that's really crucial. But that being said, give us some words of wisdom. Give us something before we end this this amazing interview.
Well, don't be afraid of mistakes. Don't be afraid of a bad buy. I had already given you the one about don't think if you would buy it. But, we were excited with the first item that we sold when we started back in November. It was a Yankee Overdrive setup that we sold on eBay, and they were selling for like $100. You know, it's right before Christmas. We had it sit in a closet for a couple of years. Nobody, I think the kids played with it once. So we threw it up there, never taking into place how much shipping was going to be. That thing weighs heavy. Initial quotes from eBay were at like $60 to ship it. And we were like, oh, there goes all the profit on it. We were able to shop some shipping around, and we got it down to like 30 something bucks. But that was a huge learning lesson for us. Was you know, you got to think about how much it weighs. So now we're very cautious on things. You know, is it under a pound? Is it over a pound? You know, that dictates how we're going to ship it, what method. Take chances. Go with your gut. You know, we've had things out there that the numbers say it sells, and we're looking at it going, who would buy this crazy thing? We go with our gut, we buy it, and it sells. I've had things that we've either sent to Amazon, and as fast as it's checked into inventory, it's sold. Stuff we've posted on eBay. There was a couple items out of a bulk box we bought about a month or so ago. I couldn't even finish posting all of the items I wanted to post that night. I think I had like 10 items to post before they started selling. And I'm like, then I started questioning myself, did I price it too low? Mm-hmm. You know, if it's selling that quick. And I tried to be in the average of where everybody else was, where it sold. And I'm like, did I leave money on the table?
So we had a question, actually. It's a good one. What tools, you know, what tools did you wish you would have known about before you started reselling? For example, like a sweater shaver, like actual tools for reselling.
Well, the Scotty peelers were one of the first items we bought. The lighting kit, I already had lights. I already had a DSLR camera from my digital marketing agency. You know, I went into this, I had a lot of stuff. Physical tool, I wish I had sooner. Yeah, I wish I wouldn't have bought the camera that I bought that you guys see me do my road videos with. Mm-hmm. This little Sony guy here. I wish I would have spent a couple extra $100 and bought the Canon camera that I'm shooting after now. I can't even think of the model number on it. G7X, I think it is. It's the one that everybody uses on their YouTube. After going with Bonafide and seeing the camera and the difference it made, that's the camera I want. And I could go out and buy it right now, but I've told myself I need to buy items that pay for it before I can just go buy it. I'm making the business actually earn that camera. The biggest thing with this little Sony one I have now is it's got an autofocus on it, and you can't turn it off, and it constantly is cycling through the focus. So that's why you'll see some of the videos go blur and then are clean and then go blur again, and it's just like it drives me nuts. Mm-hmm. My larger, higher-end DSLR Canon camera, that's what I usually do with the unboxing videos with. That's the one we use to take our pictures with eBay. I really don't have any issues with that. So
I can tell you that. Oh, 1 second. Sorry, guys. Let me. Oh man, so many people. I'm really blessed to have so many people start YouTube since I've started these interviews. And like, if I can tell myself one thing, like when I first started YouTube, I had like 100 subscribers, and then I stopped doing YouTube for like 4 months, and then I started it up again, and then I stopped. Like, I think the best way to start YouTube, one thing that I was doing wrong when I first started was I was doing all these videos, but they're highly edited videos. They took a long time to edit, which those are good videos. But the problem with that was I was eating up so much time between everything else that I was doing that I wasn't motivated when I didn't see the results on YouTube, for example, subscriber count, right? And so you guys got to, just like eBay and listing, you know, sometimes listing is not people's best friends. And I think that you got to take the same approach to YouTube. If you're looking to start a YouTube channel, and everybody that's in chat right now, please put your YouTube channel name if you've got a YouTube channel so you guys can all subscribe to each other. Just put your YouTube channel name so people can Google you. But or YouTube you. But that being said, guys, when you're starting YouTube, and I think you can contest to this, you've got to really you've got to take it with a grain of salt and take your time and be patient. YouTube is a very patient game, guys. And but if you continue with it, if you continue doing videos, you'll get successful. People will get to know you and they'll like your personality. You'll get subscribers daily and you'll grow, but be very patient with it. And if you've got a YouTube channel, guys, put it in chat. I'm really curious. Put your YouTube name in chat, just the name, so it shows up. So that way people can add you. And make sure you're subscribed to this amazing individual. I want to see everybody. I want to see everybody live on YouTube. I get no better feeling than somebody that I've seen on this interview. I can go to their YouTube channel and see that they're creating content both about their family and reselling. It just gives me a high, a natural high for sure.
Absolutely. I'd love to be going live while we're out thrifting. You know, and that's, I was letting the channel grow organically. Like I said, a lot of the videos have all gone up within the last probably 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but it's that editing time that kills you, you know, between working full time, trying to get all this stuff listed and things ordered. It means late hours, and that's taking me away from the family again. So I'd much rather do live videos that don't have to be edited, or minor editing to them, you know, throw up a splash screen, maybe an intro or something. But it's stuff that's out there that it's amazing that the subscribers I've got have come just from the tags that are on those videos. I haven't done any advertising of it. I've posted a couple videos to a few groups here and there, posted a couple to Instagram, and it's amazing that people just keep finding it. Mm-hmm. One of the videos on there that I really didn't put much in the tags into YouTube until the last couple of days is almost at 1,000 views. I'm like, if only, you know, 10% of those people would go and subscribe, I'd be at that 100 count. Mm-hmm. So,
guys, no better time than to start YouTube. And even if you're not really interested in YouTube, but you want to, so those of you who don't know, let's say you're timid about starting social media on YouTube. You can set your videos to private or non-private, right? So you can actually create content, but not put it out there for other people to see, but you can still use it as a way to document your journey. So you can upload a bunch of videos, but keep it where nobody can see, only you can see it. And then there also, I believe, is a way that you can share it individually. So if you're not interested necessarily on, you know, showing it to the masses, you definitely can create and document your journey. And I think it's going to be really cool. One thing that I like about YouTube, non-reseller related, is Cade and my new little guy that's on the way will be able to grow up and watch these videos of me when I'm good looking, you know, with the luscious small beard, right? I mean, what about you? They're going to be able to come back and see all the cool content that you created.
Absolutely. You know, my youngest, Caden, absolutely loves seeing himself on TV. And, you know, I had brought back that surprise after that going with Bonafide as the ride-along, as he was filming that day. However, right after we did the ride-along, he took off, went to Colorado on vacation. He lost the SD card that was in his camera. So he lost all the footage while he was snowboarding, and he lost all the footage from that day. I was waiting to show it to Caden so that he could see, look, here, I just went on this ride-along with this guy you've been watching on these videos, you know. And then he gets a thrill out of seeing himself on it. And I've watched him go from being shy and timid to wanting to be on the camera to begin with, to now he can't wait. When we go out to a thrift store, or we're going to a store and we hop out, he's the first one out of the car going, okay, let's record the video. Mm-hmm. You know, he's just gotten over that fear of being on camera and being on TV. You know, yep. So that's a life skill. You know, public speaking is probably the biggest fear that everybody has. Mm-hmm. And if he can get over that now at a young age, he's golden.
If anything, if you guys learn anything about this channel on this video, it was definitely that, like the fear of public speaking. I had it. You know, if eBay Open asked me to be a speaker maybe next year, I would definitely do it. But, you know, it's getting over that. And I think YouTube helped me with that. And I had a question. Ask, can you make a private video unprivate. So for example, every time I upload a video, if it's not live, it's always private. I'll make the adjustments and then I'll send it out to my subscribers, right? So you definitely can. Yes, you could make a video that's private. So you can make 50 videos that are private that nobody sees, and then individually make those, send out to the public whenever you want, so others can see it. And then you can even change it back to private if you want to recall that video. So there's no reason why you shouldn't start social media. And there's, like, for example, I've been messaging Rusted Raccoon in chat. Did I say that right? And trying to get him on the channel, guys. He's got a great YouTube channel. But the same thing is when he creates, because I know he goes live thrifting, so he can upload it private, and then when he wants to send it out, he can go ahead and send it out public. So it's really, really cool. But guys, appreciate you coming. Please subscribe to this channel. Please hit the little bell button, guys. If you hit the little bell button every time I go live, you'll know when I go live. But more importantly, support each other. I am a big proponent of what you give, you'll get back. And so in my chat, within reason, you can constantly always put, when you're in my chat, that you have a YouTube channel so people can subscribe to you. I think that the more people on social media will boost me. I don't think it's the opposite. I think, sometimes the thinking is if there's more competition, but I actually think the opposite, because, when you start your YouTube channels, you're going to mention my YouTube channel and how you got started. So it helps me as well. So guys, go out there and get it. I really appreciate you guys joining. We do have an interview tomorrow. So hopefully you guys join for that. Any last words that you can give the crowd? Go crush it.
Just get out there and do. You'll hear that at every end of every one of my videos, and that has stuck with me. If I have to, and you're scared of being on camera, you're scared of doing things, I'll bring back what got me over my fear. A couple mentors a few years ago, I was telling businesses they needed to do Facebook Live, yet I wasn't doing it myself. They gave me a 30-day challenge. I had to go live on Facebook every day for 30 days. If I missed a day, I had to eat a can of dog food live on the air. Let me tell you, I didn't miss any one of those 30 days. But about halfway through it, you're so comfortable on camera, you just got over it. And, it becomes second nature. It's no different than going out there and buying an item to sell. Don't be afraid to go in there. Don't be afraid to pull your phone out in the thrift store if you're not familiar with a brand or an item, to scan it or look it up. So many people I hear go out and buy something and then take it home to do the research. You're going to lose money if you do that. Mm-hmm. Get over those fears. You're not the only one in there. What I love is when you're in the thrift store and you hear a cha-ching from eBay and you watch 10 people pull their phone out of their pocket.
Yes. I love that. I love that sound. Well, that being said, guys, as Hustler Hacks, my buddy Hustler Hacks would say, go out and get it. You guys have an awesome night, and I will see you tomorrow.